Alright, so here's the engine that I've brought in Woody's car. So I'm just going to take you through it. Basically, looks like our friends, well, basically it's had a catastrophic failure of the timing belt. And I think that catastrophic failure, I've cleaned it up a bit, was brought on by oil leaks from the that movement there, sorry, to show you that movement, that's the phaser movement. Everyone talks about if there's movement in your diffuser, but the oil leak, I believe, come from the cam seals. Okay, from the camshaft seals in the front of the head. It's leaked down. Eventually, this tensioner is disintegrated, and it's bent valves. All the exhaust valves look bent. I've done the old oil can check. There's a sticker on your block. Now, everyone can have an opinion on this, but typically I always read that as 02 10th month first date. So second year, 10th month first. Someone might want to say to me, no, that's wrong, okay. If you know the correct one, read it another way. So we've got an F4R, just want to point out this. Just grab my phone again. As soon as I come in, you see there's some numbers in under there. So we've got a 430710Z. You can make that out. And then the old F4. That's just the factory exhaust ports. Come around the other side. Now, this is the next thing I wanted to show you. So somebody's gone crazy here with the silicon. So they've tried to do a sump seal, reseal. They've also tried to seal it up around this crank seal. I don't know why. Don't think the crank seal looks okay, but they've just gone mad with Silastic and goo. And when they bring it up, block looks clean, so there's no corrosion in the heads. But I want to bring you in on this. It's quite close there. You probably can't make it out, but what we've got is somebody who's tried to hold the camshaft and tighten the nut on the pulley with the locking tool, the bar setting tool. It's not a locking tool, it's a setting tool in place. On the other side they haven't done it, but this side they have. Alright, so you don't use your setting tool for your camshaft to hold the camshaft while you tighten the nut to tension on the other side. You hold the camshaft sprocket with a holding tool and you torque it up. So clearly this motor has been touched by Muppets. People who just seriously should not be touching motor. And it gets worse. I'm going to bring this down in a second and show you where it all gets worse. But what I'm going to do next is I've got to show you one other thing. I'm going to point this out, but I've poured some oil down those holes, and I think number 4 and 3 haven't bent the valves, but the other ones have. So I don't know whether it's only survived 2, but it's crashed on the others when the timing belt broke. But you know, this engine is full of oil everywhere. Ports are full of oil, engine's leaking oil everywhere. I'm really adamant that I don't know whether it's actually a good motor or not. I'm suspicious that the blocks, the rings are gone, so laying overhead. So the rings have gone, the thing's been burning its own oil, leaking its own oil, and absolutely high mileage with no cares given by the previous owner. And not to mention the other challenges, which is the cylinder head's been part. Someone siliconed all the things. So see here, you can see it here, that there is silicon. You do not seal your cam covers with silicon. Silicon cam cover, no. It's anaerobic sealant. Loctite 515 is what you need. You want something that once you've finished gluing it down, it dissolves. Silicon does not dissolve. Silicon sets and then it goes in all your galleries. And if you squeeze it over, it goes in your cam sets. Now, some people say, I can use it all the time. Well, mate, if you want to use it, use it. But if it's a perfectly machined surface, this does my head in. If it is a perfectly machined flat surface, use the 515. It will never leak. This is just idiots that have never worked. There's more of it there, like crazy. You don't need it. I'll take you over and show you a proper motor. Come in here. Here's another one. Here's one I pulled apart yesterday. Now I'm just going to zoom in here. Okay, no silicon. Here, there's no silicon. There's the remnants of the 515. There's no beads of silicon. If it's a timing cover that's not machined, it's two different surfaces, yeah. Now, just getting back to this one. Now, this is the good motor. Now, just mind the vision between some things. So here's the setting bar. So just pull the setting bar out. So this motor, there's nothing wrong with this motor except it got launched at high speed up and over a something and binned the car. So it's meant, I was told by the guy I bought it off, it's a phase 1 engine with hot cams. Now I had a look at these camshafts and I don't think you'll be able to see it, but if I took them out and measured it, those lobes have a lot more duration on them. As well, if I bring it in here, I just want to show you, you can see the size on the ends of these two camshafts. These are definitely not original camshafts, and I was told they weren't, and the car was producing some good numbers. The other thing is obviously it's an earlier model with the cast iron or cast aluminium end plates for the thermostat. Now I don't have any technical information, but you can see that this is a engine is the 06241Y, letter Y and an F4. But I just want to bring it around here, hopefully. Get rid of this airline. Now, part of the problem that I've got to deal with on this car is here. So anyone will recognise, and I'll show you on the other one, that casting there has snapped off. However, there's that threaded through there, and this is what leads me to believe that the information that this is actually a phase 1 is where the alternator mounted. But there's 77 phase 1s brought into Australia and I've never actually physically seen one, so I can't confirm that that's it. You can probably watch in, there's probably people in the UK that know what they're talking, that have owned them, that could tell me. But yeah, so that is the only bolt I've got, and I've still got these other two bolts around here, and I run a Pure Motorsport AC Delete kit, which is the relocation of the alternator. So I'm going to be able to use that kit hopefully to anchor through that hole and then put a spacer in, and then basically have 3 points of contact instead of 4 and an alternator. But that's my challenge, because right now that's what's wrong with this casting. What I'm also going to do, that's just turning it over, I'm going to pull this water pump off, and I want to inspect and check to make sure this water pump there's not a crack in the back of that, a hairline crack. And other than that, ports are all still standard. I've sprayed a bit of oil down them. It was stored well, this motor. There's a tiny little bit of moisture got into one of the ports, but it's not enough to bother me. Top of everything else is all in good nick, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, no, but old mate who I bought it off had run ITBs, but no ITBs. So this motor's good with ITBs. So I'm hoping with a good tune and standard intake manifold, big exhaust system, should be close to me 180 horsepower, maybe 100 185, but that's crank flywheel horsepower that we don't really measure here. It's hard to measure, but everybody knows. Alright, so now I'm back here with our with the oiler motor, the unreliable one. I'm just going to show you, hopefully, what I was talking about on the other motor. So we've got that missing component there that's snapped off, and that snapped off there. Now this is definitely a phase 2 motor, and obviously that and that mounting point, together with that one and that one, or this one, all form part of the setup for when you're running the alternator relocation kit for a phase 2. So I need to make my alternator sit somewhere there with that bit missing and this bit missing, but you can see that they haven't drilled that hole. So you've got the casting, but on my other mock you can see that the manufacturer they drilled and threaded that point there. So I guess that, guys, if you were wanting to do the relocation perhaps, and you could get hold of a phase 1 alternator, potentially you could just simply drill and tap that and put the phase 1 to avoid the whole purchasing of a deletion kit. So let me run up and have a look at my deletion kit on my other block. Okay, so here we are with my original 172. It's had the AC delete still with the power steering in place. So what I'm going to have to do, so as you can see, the pure motorsport kit utilises that point there as a bracket for the gusset for this. Obviously that point as well, then it braces there and there, so you adjust it down and then it runs this hole through here. Let's come around from behind, hopefully we don't get too much contrast. Then you use that and that bolt for the back section. So this becomes your pivot down the bottom that anchors on there. What I'm hoping, and this is where the next challenge is there's no material there for this pivot. So I've certainly got a big ass challenge here in my shed. So I need to research it and work out how people put the Series 1 Phase 1 on there. The other option is I was looking at is using that hole and use this bracketry to anchor this bracket in that hole, which still leaves this bottom bracket running in the breeze, but it does go through it. So it wouldn't be as good naturally, because I still don't have that complete bracket, but I do have it as a stopper, so I can locate it as a stopper so that it doesn't move. The other alternative is try and braze something on there and drill it out to set it up. So I thought I'd do the video on this because it certainly is a challenge. I'm going to have to try a couple of solutions, and one may involve a drilling this component out. But let's just count the contact. So you've got one contact point up there. You've got these two here braced across. Then you've got this bracket that's mounted there, which you then anchor through, and that's basically, and then this, obviously this point here and the bottom point that goes in. So I'm repositioned the bottom mounting hole with a bit of luck and put a countersunk bolt through it because you've got plenty of material to work with. This, because it's missing and I don't think it'll accommodate a larger one, just simply mount the position in. If I go back and show you again, just put that bolt in place, clamp it up, but doesn't stop it from pulling away, but it will stop it from going in, so it'll work as a location guide. And then you're still running your 3 on there on the alternator. So interesting. If anyone else got another solution, I'd be dying to hear it. So I'm going to put this up as a please help video. I might even submit it somewhere else as a please help video, and then we can go from there.